Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. This is William Heineman, host, and you are at Just Force 911, where you look at how our public officials do their job or they just really screw it up. Guys, today we're coming to you from Nashville. Once again, you have cops that do not know what the hell they're doing. They have a gentleman who has neuropathy, has had four surgeries on his knee, but yet they go ahead and give him a sobriety test, which he fails, and then they arrest him for DWI. You know, there's just absolutely no reasoning for this, except that you have officers who don't know what the hell they're doing. And it's really sad. But let's check this out, guys. Oh, do me a favor, if you would, please subscribe to my channel, hit the like and share, hit the thumbs up, and leave me a comment, please. Thank you. Let's get on with the video.
Offended me. I don't know what I would have done virtually.
A Hendersonville man who suffers from neurological pain says he was still made to do a field sobriety test using his legs.
And after he was charged with DUI, his blood work showed he was sober.
It is the latest discovery in Chief Investigative Reporter Jeremy Finley's sobering problem investigations. Jeremy, you took the video of his arrest to a field sobriety test expert.
Yeah, Lauren, I did because, we're seeking to understand why sober people keep getting arrested. So I took this arrest to the former state trooper who received DWI honors for his DUI arrest. He says what happened to a Hendersonville man shows that these field sobriety tests must be done absolutely correctly or mistakes can be made. And he believes that's exactly what happened here.
And keep in mind, these scumbag cops, they get kudos for making DWI arrests. Whether it sticks or not makes no difference. And then you have to spend between $5,000 and $15,000 to get this thing cleared off your record. It's insane. And nothing happens to the cop. He's just doing his job. That's the same thing they said in Nazi Germany. Well, I'm just doing my job. Ain't my problem. This needs to stop, people. This thin blue line of backing each other up, even if you're wrong, it needs to go away. We need to start holding these police officers accountable for their actions.
One, I'll get it balanced. Two, I'm sorry, man, my leg is so weak.
As you can see, Roger Lewis's field sobriety test did not go well on May 30th of last year.
Okay. 3, 4.
After he called for help to Mount Juliet police, reporting that he'd been scammed.
Yeah, you called the police for help, and this is the help you get. It just goes to prove that there's nothing out there that the police cannot make worse.
Officer J. Kirkpatrick noted in his report an open container of alcohol and keys in the ignition of Lewis's car.
So you haven't had anything else to drink besides one beer?
No, that's it.
Okay. Well, would you be willing to do some field sobriety tests?
Well, yeah, absolutely.
But before the field sobriety test was even given, Lewis acknowledged this.
Do you have any other medical conditions I should be aware of before I do these tests?
Oh, I have real bad neuropathy.
Okay.
Now, keep in mind, I've had 6 total knee replacements.
I will.
Health challenges so bad, he has a disabled placard in his car. Still, Officer Kirkpatrick instructs him to do field sobriety tests where he must use his legs.
I'm sorry, I have neuropathy.
And this just makes this cop an absolute idiot.
Not crazy.
I told him I was going to fail it.
Kirkpatrick also gave Lewis what's called a nystagmus test, which checks to see if you have an involuntary jerking of your eyes, which can indicate high doses of alcohol. After then discovering pain medication in Lewis's car, the officer makes his decision.
Put your hands behind your back. You're going to be under arrest for DUI.
But there's something else that Officer Kirkpatrick didn't tell Lewis that he did say to his fellow officer. Listen.
So this is my first DUI.
A first DUI investigation, leaving the Hendersonville man fearing his disability would result in a conviction of drunk driving.
I'm the music director at my church in Gallatin. This would have destroyed me. My credibility would have been destroyed.
And cops don't care. They could care less. They get to go home at the end of the night. How come when we charge somebody illegally with something, why doesn't it go back on the cop if there was no reason for the arrest.
Months later, the blood test would come back, showing negative for alcohol. There was pain medication in his system, but this letter from Lewis's doctor from June states he only takes the medication at night, and it will not impair his capabilities to complete tasks. The DUI charge was nollied, meaning prosecutors opted not to move forward.
Okay, right there. As soon as the prosecutors chose to not move forward, why didn't this fall back on the cop? Let him deal with it. Let him deal with the charge. And let's see where that goes.
There was an open container
Right,
in the car.
right,
The field sobriety test you just botched.
right.
Do you understand why the officers arrested you?
I understand why the officers would question my sobriety. Jeremy, I offered a breathalyzer over and over and over, and he said, no, we don't do that here.
Kirkpatrick's deputy chief at Mount Juliet Police declined our request for an interview and wrote in an email that the officer was right to arrest Lewis. Quote, body-worn camera footage supports what the toxicology report already suggests. This person should not have been driving.
Okay, once again, we have that thin blue line of backing each other up no matter what, even if you're wrong. And the toxicology did not show he was drunk. It showed he was not. Nice try, pal. Great haircut, by the way.
I shared with you what the police department said. What do you make of what they said?
It's disappointing because I understand you have to protect your officers.
Steve Thompson is a former state trooper in Louisiana who received the state's DWI award for 4 years. He's now a professor of criminal justice. We showed him the body camera footage of Lewis's arrest, asking, should someone with an identified disability who states that they have a condition that impairs their ability to walk go through a walk and turn test and stand on one leg? He says no. There are other tests that should have been given, such as citing the alphabet starting from a certain letter.
It's been my experience that most officers who administer these field sobriety tests do not do it properly.
Thompson says it's the nystagmus test that was also botched. He says in checking for involuntary jerking of the eye, the officer's finger should continuously move from side to side, not stop. Watch how often Officer Kirkpatrick stops in the middle and starts again.
I'm sorry, but it was a pathetic excuse at a nystagmus test.
Yes.
Lewis says while awaiting his blood tests, he went back to watch our Sobering Problems investigations and found an unexpected kinship.
It was very hard to watch. It was very emotional because with each person that you interviewed, I knew exactly how they felt.
Golly. Okay, Jeremy, I think a lot of questions that people are asking right now is if you have drugs in your system, how do prosecutors know whether you've taken too much in order to drive?
Yeah, it's a great question, Lauren, and here's the reality. For alcohol, you know, the blood test shows if you have beyond 0.08 and charge you with the DUI if you do. It's definitive. It is not the same with drugs. For example, if you smoke marijuana and you get arrested 7 days later on suspicion of a DUI, your blood test will show you have weed in your system, but there's not a benchmark level that automatically proves that you are impaired. So for prescription medication, the blood test shows that it is in your system. But again, there's no benchmark that says this certain amount is too much to drive. It's why these field sobriety tests are so important, that they are conducted accurately, especially in drug cases, because that's the evidence they need in order to get a conviction. Guys, back to you.
Jeremy, thank you so much.
Offended me.
Okay, guys, so let me know what you think about this. You know, they've had such a problem in Tennessee of, you know, people being arrested for DWI with no alcohol, no drugs, you know, and it's just, it's a shame that an officer would stoop so low to do this to somebody that was totally and completely, you know, not drunk or not high. You know, it's just a complete and total sham. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Remember, always film the police and your public officials, because you can't trust them to tell the truth. And remember, do something good for somebody, because it may just come back to you. Guys, have a good one.